Yo, 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 we live on location. Me and the blackest one, we had to get in connection with our towers and get on virtual, man. We had to travel all the way down to Shreveport to get my, that class of 1998 representative, McDonald's All-American. We got Shreveport's finest. Multi-year player in the league. We got the Stro Show, man. Y'all know what it do. Throw the set up, throw the click up. We appreciate you, Stro.
Appreciate y'all for having me, brother.
Appreciate you coming through, rocking with us, man. We glad to have you. You are a guy. We came in the storm together at the draft in Minnesota and all them good stories we gonna get to. But me and Q appreciate you coming and rocking with us.
Hey, hold up, man. Yeah. This that class of 1998. You don't know nothing about this right here, Black. You know what I'm saying? Don't worry about what's talking about. This is a little young whippersnapper. He don't know nothing about that 98. We're going to tell him what we did back in 98, though. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, sir. Man, I appreciate y'all having me, man. This been a long time coming. I've been waiting on this.
Oh yeah,
Yes,
no,
sir.
we was
Yes,
coming,
sir.
man. You
It
know,
had
Q.
to happen.
You know, Q. You gotta deal with Q. He take all day, but we was gonna make it happen anyway.
Oh yeah, I knew it was coming.
Yes, sir.
straight up. When you first got to the league, who was the first person to bust your ass?
Man, that's a tough one for me because I ain't really played that much my rookie year. I was playing behind Sharif Abdur-Rahim.
Yeah.
So it's a crazy story. Because I really didn't get a chance to play that much, but I remember Sidney Lowe was our head coach. He had just came over from Minnesota the year before.
Yeah.
So he asked me one day like who I wanted to pattern my game after, and I was like, man, I like KG.
Mm-hmm.
So man, when I finally got to meet KG, man, I go up to him. I'm trying not to be starstruck or whatever, but man, I was looking forward to playing against him, and man, he came out there and killed me. He was talking noise, and I'm looking like, damn, man, I don't like this no more, man. But yeah, man, KG was the first one to give me the business. Like he ain't take it easy on me either, man. That was pretty tough. Man, destroyed my heart. Like, I was like, man, I don't like KG no more, man. From that point on, like every game, every time we played against him, I would break the plays. Cause back then, Ticket was, man, he was the man. So the offense ran through him.
Yeah.
So I'm just a role player at the time. So I don't get a chance. The offense ain't coming to me. So I'm out there breaking plays, trying to go back at him. But yeah, man,
he touching it every time.
Yeah.
Shreveport, Louisiana. I just had 50 come down to Shreveport and change the town.
Yes,
a
he
bit
did.
Down there, man.
Man, it's been like huge for our city. Like it's a small city in Louisiana. I think it's like the third largest city in Louisiana. But man, what 50 is doing, like bringing just like jobs and just bringing that excitement to our city. Like, man, he's working in the inner city, like doing low income housing. Just bringing different businesses, restaurants, and they talking about building new hotels, and also he has the movie studio here. So man, I think it's gonna be great for our city, man. And the weekend, man, it was unbelievable. Like I didn't participate in a lot of the activities, but I got a chance to go to the celebrity game, and man, it was awesome. Like I hadn't seen my city like that in a long time. Like it was good to see.
Yeah. We too old for that bullshit, right? Nah, we can't do it like we used to.
Yeah.
So.
Nah, that's what I was gonna say though. With you being there from there, you born and raised there. Did you ever think you could see something like that? Did he put together and how he's turning like how he's turning over the economy and doing it big like that? Did you ever think like that you would see something like this going on in your city?
Like I seen the potential. But man, from what I just seen just from that weekend was unbelievable to me because like I didn't envision it to be as big and just like how black and white people like came together to support his vision. And man, we had a 4-day weekend with no violence in the city. Like
that's what I'm going to say. Let's talk about that, man. Shout out to that, man. Shout out to the people. No problems. Everybody had a good time and enjoyed it.
man, a lot of people try to bring like this negative aspect on it, but man, it was real positive. And for me to look at the news and see no gun violence, nobody getting killed, man, it was unbelievable. Like, man, he paid the security, like police department, like 500 grand, and man, they came out and did their job. Like they had cameras all over the place. So, man, I think it stopped a lot of people, even if they thought about doing something crazy, like just seeing all the cameras and the police around. You know, it make you think twice about like doing something crazy. So, man, it was. Man, big ups to 50, man. That was
Straight
awesome.
up.
So
Shout out 50, man. That whole everything he doing with the studios and everything. His whole second act is just amazing. So yeah, shout out 50.
yeah, so we looking to bigger and better things. I think it's gonna be even bigger next year, man. We kind of looking at this thing like to be like a little like mini Essence Festival like they do in New Orleans. So like that's how big it was. Like I'd never seen that many celebrities. Like even in like All Star break, like I've never seen that many celebrities in a city like this before. So it was good to see.
Right.
Fair Park High School. Who put the ball in your hand first of all to get you to start hooping?
I got a late start, so I didn't start playing until like I was in the 8th grade. But man, this dude that lived up the street from me named Tony O'Neal, and man, he's a little guard in my neighborhood. Man, he could really hoop. So when I moved to this new neighborhood, I used to walk to the park every day and just go up there and shoot by myself. This one I was, I'm just learning.
Yeah.
And man, he saw me one day and he was like, "Man, you ain't got to go to the park. You can come to the house and hoop." So, man, I started going to his crib and man, we hoop every day. Saturday mornings we had a little hoop tournament, like the whole neighborhood, other neighborhoods come over. And I think that's where I started to develop the love for the game.
Was you always tall?
Yeah, I was, man, I always taller than all my teachers. I think from 5th grade, I think I was like 5th grade, I probably was like 5'11". And I think once I got to middle school, I kind of shot up. I was like 6'3", 6'4" in the 8th grade. And 6'5" in the 9th grade. Then after that, I think I grew 3 inches from my freshman year to my sophomore year. So I was like 6'8".
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Was you hooping before you got to really start playing organized? Or
man,
you just weren't doing nothing and then just started playing organized?
Man, I wasn't hooping nothing. Like I really didn't think I was gonna be a basketball player. Man, I wanted to be a professional wrestler when I was young. So
you know that's right. Man, you used to watch the WrestleManias and stuff. We were deep on that wrestling too. Wrestling was the shit back in the day. They don't even know.
But man, my muscles didn't grow right, so I was like, man, I'm gonna have to hang this wrestling thing up.
Yeah,
that's hilarious.
So since you started late, your freshman year, did you play varsity?
So I played about 5 games my freshman year, 5 varsity games my freshman year. Like so I played freshman, like I didn't play JV, and out of those 5 games, I may have gotten in about 3 games, but like I wasn't making no noise my freshman year.
Yeah, right. So you built it your way up for your senior year to be the way it was.
Yeah, I put a lot of work in, and I think most of it was because like around here, like we didn't have a lot of people to, like how they have now, where it's a lot of people teaching you skills and skill work
and stuff like that.
We just like what we had here was like we groomed and bred a lot of athletes, and those were the type of workouts. Like we did football, basketball, track workouts. So I think that's what kind of helped me a lot to get to where I was.
I didn't do the training and all that stuff. I just hooped a lot.
Yeah. Right.
Like that's what got my skills up to park to just hooping. Like everywhere it was hoop, we was there. Cross town, in the town, in the city, this gym, that gym. We played in the church league, everything.
We all from the same era, bro. It wasn't like we like a generation or two before the whole evolution of the training started when we was in the league, when we started doing the real training and getting with trainers and going to Tim Grovers and stuff like that. So I definitely feel you on that. We definitely just hooped it out. When did you get your first dunk? How old was you? What grade was you in then?
The summer going to my 9th grade year. That was my first dunk. man, I never forget it. Like everybody used to laugh and talk about me because I was like 6'4", 6'5", and I was still slapping the glass. Man, I had them bad. Like I hit that growth spurt, and my knees were kind of like sore
Hurt you
all the
in.
time.
Yeah,
So
hurt
I didn't.
tendonitis.
Yeah, so I like believe it or not, I ain't really jumped that high like from my 8th to 9th grade year. So, but going to that summer, man, I remember this guard I was playing in the summer league. He drove down the lane and dished it off, a little driving kick, and man, I just went up and dropped it in, and I was like, damn, I was like, man,
Shocked yourself.
yeah, I shocked myself because I'm going to the park. I'm trying to dunk, but I couldn't do it, so I'm just slapping the
Yeah.
glass on. But yeah, man, it was like I think 8th grade going to my 9th grade year. So once I got in the
That's
9th
what's up.
grade, I was hitting that thing then, like once the 9th grade season started.
When did you
Yeah.
feel like it was turning around, that people was appreciating how you hoop? When you start seeing your name ranked in the state, then when you start seeing your name ranked in the country?
Man, I'm gonna give you try to make this a quick little story. So this is my sophomore year. Like we're in the playoffs, so we have to play against this school called Glen Oaks out of Baton Rouge. I don't know if y'all remember the name Lester Earl.
Lester
Oh,
Earl,
yeah.
yeah.
So Lester, man, he was one of the top
Damn
players.
right.
Like he was one of the top
Yeah.
players in the state at the time.
Mhm.
I had never heard of him. Like I didn't know who he was, and
Yeah.
so we had to go down to Baton Rouge and play in this playoff game. And I remember we went to the mall before the game, and there was a couple of people in there. They was like, "Man, where y'all from? Like what team y'all?" And they was like, "Well, who y'all playing?" So we told him Glen Oaks. He was like, "Man, y'all might as well get back on the highway and go back home."
Lester Earl was
But
that
yeah,
dude.
he was a monster, man. But after that game, like I probably had about 12. I fouled out the game. I probably had like 12 points, like 5 blocks. Like I didn't think I played that well. But after the game, I don't know if y'all remember Thad Foucher from Adidas. Like he came and talked to my coach, and he was like, they wanted to invite me to the Adidas camp, the ABCD camp.
ABCD.
Ding,
So
ding, ding, ding.
I'm green at the time. Like I don't know nothing about Adidas, like ABCD. He was like ABCD camp. I was like, man, that sounds like a little kids camp. So he started laughing at me. He asked me if I heard of Kobe Bryant, and I was like, no, I never heard of Kobe Bryant at the time. Like this, like my 10th grade year, I didn't know who Kobe was. So he was like, well, the guy you just played with, like he was at the Adidas camp last year. That's like one of the top camps in the country. So like we want to invite you to come and just see where your skills are. So I was like, cool. So man, they told me I had to, like I was excited about it because I was able to finally go and see, like test my game against some of the best players in the
Other
country.
players in the country, yeah.
So they told me I had to get on the airplane. I was like, man, I was terrified to get on the plane. I was like, man, y'all can give me a bus ticket, man. I ride the bus.
Yeah.
That boy
It was in Vegas. It was in
This
Vegas.
was
it was in Teaneck, New Jersey.
Teaneck, New Jersey. That's what it was.
I was at this camp. I was at the same camp you talking about.
Man,
okay.
I remember. So this was crazy though because so once I get there, like this I think this is where I like kind of blew up and kind of made a name for myself because I wasn't even really traveling, like playing like AAU ball at this time.
Yeah.
Like this, like I'm just now getting started. So I get there and they put us on this team. You know how when you get to the camps, they kind of get everybody together and put you on the team. So I'm there, and I was watching a podcast. I can't remember which one it was. I think it's The Pivot with Ryan Clark, and they had T Mac on the show. So I always like to get like different perspectives on how people remember like certain events.
Yeah.
So when I get there, like they put the team together, so we there for like maybe a day or so, and then they bring this one guy to the team. He like the last person to get to the camp, and they put him on the team. Man, it was Mac. So he came in, and like this is just my memory of the first game that I got a chance to play with Mac. When I found out who he was, like man, I thought I could play a little bit. I'm at the time I'm like 6'8". Like I can put the ball on the floor just a little bit. Like I ain't had like the guard handle, but I could handle a little bit. Man, like the first game he came, like nobody knew who he was. And man, I tell you, like, and when I tell you he wouldn't shoot the ball at first, but he came out the second half and lit that thing up. I was like, damn. I was like, I had never seen nobody play like that before at 6'8" that could handle, that could shoot, had hops. Like, man, he was the truth. And the whole time at the camp, I don't know if you remember Q, but Dick Vitale was there, and man, they was this like Lamar Odom, like he was supposed to be in the start of camp, but by the time Mac left that camp, man, he was the man. But like for myself, I think I was like I made it to the underclassmen game, and I was the top underclassman at the game. So like that's how I made a name for myself at the ABCD camp.
That's when, listen, what he talking about, bro, I had no clue you was on T-Mac team.
I was on T-Mac team.
Because I remember you, though, because, like, I when I came back, I was like, man, it's this boy from Louis, because I remember you made because I struggled at camp. I had, man, listen, I got to that camp and was like, damn. I got a lot of work to do, bro. Like, that was, like, for real, an eye-opener for me. Like, you ain't nowhere near this level, boy. You got to go. I saw L.O. You remember Greedy Daniels, bro?
Greedy Daniels. His brother was on the same team as me and T-Mac.
Yeah, they had the twins.
The twins, yeah. Dino and Greedy Daniels. They from New Orleans. They from New Orleans.
And them boys was cold then. They was up there. Cause Khaled El Amin was there. Like them, like the Khaled El Amin and L.O. came into the camp as the big dog. But T-Mac but judo, that's when I'm like, yo, I'm looking around like, yo, yeah, I gotta get right. But that camp, I'm telling you, bro, like he said, you remember how the courts were, right, Stro? Like it was all the courts in the row. Like, bro, you could be down on like court 3. You would see that one T-Mac, I'll never forget, his number was 175. All you just see is 175 come just raise up, way 3 courts over. Boom! You like, oh shit, goddamn, like what was that? Like who? And then like after about 2 days of camp, he was the buzz of everything. Like 2-3 days in, however long, that was it.
Man, I remember the speech with Dick Vitale, like we was all in this, I can't remember, we was in the gym or in this room. And Dick Vitale was just like, out of all the guys in here, it's probably only going to be about maybe 10 guys that's probably going to make it to the league. And he's like, Lamar Odom's for sure is going to the NBA.
Right.
And man, he was just all over LO, man. It was crazy. So Mac just sitting back, and we ended up having to play them, LO team. We had to play them like the next game after that meeting. And man, that was it. Like I held my own, I did my thing, but Mac and LO, man, they went at it. I think Mac got the best of them that game. But it was, man, that count was unbelievable for me. And I never forget. So do you remember the upperclassmen All-Star game?
Everybody remembers what you about to say.
Man, this was still to this day, one of the most iconic dunks I ever seen. Because the thing was, they would tell us, like, if you get on a fast break, just let them go, let them do their thing. Like, they didn't want nobody to get hurt. And man, I can't remember what happened, but they got a steal. And Mac was on the fast break. He came down on their left side. And this dude sprinted from the other end of the court.
From half court.
And Mac windmill that thing. Boom, head went back, windmilled on him. Man, the crowd went crazy. I was like, man, I'd never seen nothing like that in my life. That was crazy.
And what he talking about, Black, you got to think about what he talking about. When he said the crowd went crazy, you got to think about it. On this side of the bleachers, it's all scouts and college coaches and that type of recruiters and stuff. Then on this side, it's all of the Kappas that ain't in the game. It's like the underclassmen is not in the game and the up. It's all of the people that ain't just left and just still there before you leave. Yeah. Bro, when this man did that windmill and got a foul and got N1, the recruiters throwing the clipboards in there, all the counselors jumping up and down, running around. People ran on the floor, on the court. It was pandemonium.
Yes, sir.
Like that was like the perfect cherry on top for everything he had did that week. He left that thing out of here.
Yeah.
Ain't that crazy to see 2 6'8" versatile guys that dribble? Like you coming from not being AAU, coming from all that, coming down here to see the guys all around the world, and you get Lamar Odom 6'8", 6'9", Tracy McGrady, 6'8", dribbling, shooting, doing all this versatile stuff. When as a big man, you see the guards dribble and the big man be in the post at
Yes,
this
sir.
time.
Yeah, man.
How crazy is that?
So when I saw, like I said, I thought I could handle the ball because I can get the rebound and push it up the court or whatever. But man, when I saw Mac and LO, I was like, man, my handle's trash, man. I was like, man, I need to go home and work on my
Hey, look, you was 6'8", 6'9", Stro. I was a guard and couldn't do what neither one of them could do. You know how, look, LO was the talk of the camp, so, like, as soon as you get there, his first game, everybody was there to see it.
Yeah.
Bro, what this man do the first time? LO get a rebound, D-Miles. I'm talking about all 6'9" on him. You remember he had the things on his ear. Man, LO come down the court going like how them New York guards that give it to him. He going under their legs, going. Bro, he came down the court like he was about 5'10" the whole way, just crossing on his legs. And I'm like, this is I ain't seen this before. This 6'9" doing this, bro. Like, this was crazy.
And he had the 360 vision too, because he was dishing that thing like
diamond and everything, like for real. LO, hey boy, LO was so cold. You played, but I'm saying like when I first saw him in high school, I was like, I ain't never seen nothing like this.
Tell me about your confidence leaving camp, coming back home. You done played against the best in the country. How did that change you coming back home and playing against?
Man, I was on 1,000. Like once I got back home,
damn
I couldn't wait to tell like all my homeboys about the players that I had just seen. Cause, like we ain't never seen that like this. Because we like at this time, man, I had never left the state. I had never left Louisiana, so we hadn't seen nothing like this. Like this, like man, y'all, man, I just seen something I ain't never seen before. Man, I just saw a 6'8" guard that had handles, can shoot, footwork. Man, just unbelievable. Like I was like, man, and nobody believed me until we started seeing.
There wasn't no internet back then,
yeah,
so
internet.
It wasn't no YouTube.
You had to see it in black and white. You had to read it in black and white.
Yeah.
You know what's going on. So that was going into your junior year?
Yeah,
that was the summer going to your junior.
Summer going to my junior year.
So you came back with a vengeance your junior year.
I came back real strong, man. I working out in the summertime. I was motivated leaving from that Adidas camp.
So you just did Adidas camp. You still didn't play AAU ball there.
No, I started playing AAU ball. So this is why I first remember Q from the Illinois Warriors.
Yeah.
Y'all boys was loaded. So so my AAU team, my original AAU team, the Shreveport Kings, like we ain't had the finances to like we could play in the state tournament, but we could never go to nationals.
Yeah.
So I ended up playing on this other team called the Shreveport Blue Devils. And man, we that's when I first got a chance to start traveling and playing AAU ball and seeing all the other teams that was out there, man. I remember Q, that's why I first saw you. I was like, man, big guard, man, he could put you in the post, man, he could put it on the floor, and he had the little sneaky bounce. I was like, man, he'll put that thing on your head too.
Yeah.
But man, the Warriors were tough, man. I remember watching y'all.
Yeah, we was out there. We was on the circuit getting it in. We was an underdog team, but we, especially junior going into senior year, we represented that shit for real.
Yeah.
Were you high ranked leaving camp and starting your junior year? And you just kept the momentum going?
Once I left Adidas, like I think I was like top 3 in the country in our class at the time.
For sure.
The following year, and man, like I felt bad doing this too because after I left the Adidas camp, Adidas they sponsored my team. Man, I'm getting boxes and just all kinds of like Adidas stuff. Like my mom like struggling to buy me shoes. Man, I probably got 1 or 2 pairs of shoes a year, and I went from that to having so many shoes. I ain't know what to do with them.
Loaded.
But yeah, they Adidas sponsored my high school team. So man, they had us clean. They had us fresh out there. So the next summer, it was like Nike. Man, everybody was going to Nike. So I was like, man, I did the Adidas thing, but I want to go and test my skills against at the Nike camp because they was like all the best players going to Nike this shit. So
I
I
was
ended up
there.
going.
I remember that.
That was the 1 year, Stro, where it was like, because even remember Rashard was historically an Adidas guy like you, but like Nike
Everybody
was
went
so
to Nike.
loaded that if you
Yeah.
wanted to hold your ranking and even go up, you had to be at that camp because the majority of the top 15 and all that was all there. So that I remember that being like they converted like 3 of the Adidas guys. You and Rashard were like the biggest ones, but it was like
I
a
don't
few of
remember
the Adidas dudes was like, I can't go there. I gotta be over here where that bump at.
Right. Man, because they had Al Harrington was over there. I think Al was ranked number 1 at the time.
Number
And
one.
he was and then it was either him or Corleone Young. Like I know they both was like 1 and 2 at the time.
They had Jerron Rush. Jerron Rush was ranked high.
Jerron Rush, like Q. You was ranked up there too, Q. By this time, I think.
When we left camp, that was when, because I killed at camp. So we left camp, and Al did too. We was kind of like, they didn't really give out an MVP back then, but we was kind of like considered the top 2 players out of the camp. And so he left number 1. I came out number 2. And then it was like the 5, because I remember for USA Today, the final top 5, who was it? It was me, you, Rashard, Corey, and Corleone.
That's what
on that USA Today thing. Remember the plaque?
Man, you still got that plaque, man. I need
my
that
daddy
plaque,
got
man.
it.
Man,
my daddy got it.
I need a copy of that. I don't know where my plaque is.
Because you got the picture where you dribbling, like you standing there dribbling. My daddy got that down in the basement of the crib right now. I see it every time I go to the crib. That's why I remember it so good.
Man, I need a copy of that, man. I don't know what I did with mine. I remember taking it off to college with me, and I don't remember what happened to it after that. But,
listen, my pops got and keep all that stuff, all of it.
That was my first year at Nike camp. That was like one of the most amazing camps that I seen, like ever. Like all y'all, everybody being there from Jerron, Corey, Coleon. You see them 3 all together all the time. Tayshaun, Rashard, Al, you, Q. It was a lot of
Mike
things.
Miller came over too.
I think Mike
came too. Yeah,
Mike was there too. And I didn't play that. I broke my thumb, so I had to watch. And it was just crazy.
I'll tell y'all a crazy story from that Nike camp. So at the time, like I remember Corleone was like he was either ranked 1 or 2 at the time coming into the camp.
Yeah, definitely top 3.
So everybody wanted to see me and Corleone play against each other. And you remember they would give you they gave you 2 sets of jerseys. I can't remember. I remember the gray and the blue, silver and the blue jersey. So I ended up leaving I ended up wearing the wrong jersey to the camp, to the game. So they had us staying in like some, I can't remember, like some dorms or something. They had us staying in
like the IUPUI building.
Yeah. So one of my cousins was down there, and I wore the wrong jersey, and man. Everybody was like, "Man, he's scared." Like they were thinking I did it on purpose.
Oh man!
So my cousin, he was so mad, man. I don't know if he called a cab back to the dorms to get the right jersey, but he made it back by halftime. And man, he got my jersey, man. I think I went off. I don't remember how many points I had, but man, I got busy. I got busy and that's when LSU coach, man, it was it was a lot of coaches, but LSU was recruiting me hard at the time. And man, I don't even remember who my coach was on the team, but man, they was like, man, give Swift the ball, let him handle the ball. Man, I was pushing that thing down the court. And I remember I always felt like, man, if you were 6'8", I ain't feel like nobody can guard me on the perimeter, on the wing. But so, man, after the game, I just remember the coaches like, man, I ain't know you can handle the ball, or I ain't know you can shoot the ball like that. Man, I was out there in that thing, windmills and doing that. Man, I went crazy out there.
Hey, that was what I left that camp remembering. Like, this man laying out with the left hand windmill, and he a righty. Like, boy, and I'm talking about bringing the thunder. Woo! I was like, yo.
Your senior year, how was it to be the #1 player in your state and get an opportunity to be chosen for McDonald's?
Yes, sir.
Man, it was unbelievable. But the crazy thing is, like it had got so competitive, and just in my city alone, we had some people that can really hoop.
Yeah.
And like the coach that I had at the time at Fair Park, like, man, he was real structured. Man, it was strictly like big man. Like, they didn't want me to handle the ball. Like, they knew I could handle the ball. Like, they like on the weekends, like on Sundays, like I would go to the gym and they would work on my ball handles, work on post moves and stuff like that. So they knew I could handle the ball. They knew I could shoot. But at the time, like, this is not what we need you to do. You're gonna be able to do that on the next level. Like, we need you down in the post. So
Right.
on my high school team and around in the city, like, if you ain't played AAU ball, like, they've never seen like my full potential. So they didn't know that I could
Yeah.
handle the ball. So it was like people would come to the game. They was like, man, like, how he ranked like that high? Like, he ain't really doing all this stuff, because they never,
You just
they
run
didn't,
to the post.
yeah, they didn't get a chance to see what I was doing at these camps and these AAU tournaments. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, man, my senior year going into that, like, it was crazy, because I got a lot of notoriety from just playing from AAU, playing at the camp. So I think that's how I was able to be selected for the McDonald's game. But man, that McDonald's experience was crazy too.
Yeah.
Man, we had a good time. And we were in Norfolk, Virginia.
Norfolk, Virginia.
Norfolk, Virginia. Y'all had one of the best class ever in McDonald game history. Like, a lot of, damn near all y'all went to the league that was on them rosters. But tell us about your experience and how it was the Ronald Curry show.
Oh man.
Hey Rob, he one. Look, remember when we talked about this with Tayshawn? We talked about this with Tayshawn, Stro, and I said it then. You and McGrady were robbed in the dunk contest for sure. Like, highway robbery.
Man,
tell us your experience though. Let's hear your perspective.
Man, that's crazy, because man, I had kind of got cool with Ronald and Jason Capel. Man, I had because I forget what year it was. I think it was the summer going into my senior year. After I left the Nike camp, I ended up going and playing on Boo Williams' team in Virginia.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I
Come on
played,
over here with me, son.
Yeah. So man, again, I was scared to get on the airplane. So my mom, like, man, we got in the car and we drove like 18 hours to get to Hampton, Virginia, to Norfolk. We drove from Shreveport all the way to Virginia.
Because you was scared to get on the plane when they would have got you a ticket.
Yeah, my mama was scared to get on the plane too, so we drove. We hit the highway.
That is wild, bro. That is, hey, look, that's country for real.
Hey, so we get to Virginia. I'm talking about 18 hours, like, straight out the truck. Walk in the gym, they give me a uniform. Like, I never met Boo Williams, I never met Ronald Curry, Jason Kidd. I ain't know none of these dudes, and they just throw me on the team. So the first game, it's like, man, they don't know who I am, so they ain't passing me the ball. So I'm just running up and down the court. And man, that second game,
shots, rebounds.
Yeah, like that second game, like, I went off, and everybody was like, man, yeah, we gonna keep him on this team. So it was cool, man. So that's how I got a chance to meet Ronald and Jason. But like, just from even then, man, Ronald Curry was a superstar. Like, he walked in the gym, everybody going crazy. Like, we in his hometown. Like, they was like, he was the second coming of Allen Iverson and Michael Vick. But man, to have that dunk contest in his high school gym, I was like, man, I like all the dunks that I had in my bag. I did. I felt like I should have won, but I think the dunk, I came from the free throw line, and they didn't give me all tens. I was just like, man, ain't no way I'm gonna be able to win this. If I don't get all tens coming from the free throw line, it was like, I ain't gonna be able to win this thing.
Hey, this is what I want to know. Do you remember Ronald Curry dunks though? Do you remember what dunks he did?
I remember he did the behind the back and went up, and I think that was the dunk that he got. I think he won it with the behind the back, and then catches in the air. Like, that was the only one I remember, but I don't think the rest of them was that good.
Because the rest of them was the very different variations of the same dunk. And remember, he did the 360 with no nothing. He did the 360 off the lob.
Yeah.
Hey, meanwhile, 50, McGrady and Stromile going into the tool bag going crazy. And they was like, man, this home court advantage is unreal.
Yes, sir.
But you remember, because he announced to us he was going to UNC. He won Player of the Year in football and Gatorade Player of the Year in football and basketball. And we was like, yo, this is insane right now.
Yeah, but man, he was nice though. He was a nice guard though. He could ball.
Nah, he was definitely a killer. I ain't never saying he was trash. I'm just saying like it was literally the Ronald Curry weekend, and everybody was like, okay.
Yeah.
Could it have been anybody else that almost got you? Did LSU?
Yeah, Michigan. Like I really wanted to go to Michigan. Like Michigan was my first choice. Georgetown, Georgetown, Michigan. Man, I used to skip school. Man, watching Michigan play in the NCAA tournament. I remember, man, my mom going to work. Man, I go to the bus stop. She go out to work. Man, I come back home. I used to leave the window open. Man, I just come back home and watch some games. But yeah, that Fab Five mistake, they made a lasting impression on me. But Michigan and Georgetown were like my top schools. And I think Michigan went through, I think they was going through probation. I think Coach Fisher had ended up leaving and Brian Ellaby was taking over. But I think they was some NCAA violations. I don't know what all was going on down there, but I think that was one of the reasons why I had changed and went to LSU.
Tell us about John Thompson, because if John Thompson was one of my guys, if John Thompson was still coaching at Georgetown, I would have committed to Georgetown just like that. But just tell them about the impression John Thompson had on you.
Man, I never forget to see Big John walk through the front door of my living room. Man, my mom then laid out this big spread. And man, like made him feel right at home. Man, I said, man, this dude can eat. Man, he came in. Man, he ate about 2 plates. Man, I remember like all the kids in the neighborhood. They was like, man, John Thompson, like that's the dude Coach Allen Iverson and Patrick Ewing and all these other dudes. And man, like all the kids like just like outside the house, like just trying to get a glimpse of him. Man, he was that big of a guy. Just a great person. Always kept it real. And man, like I didn't even need to go on a recruiting trip to know that I wanted to go to Georgetown. Like that was my school. Like I was like, man, I'm going to Georgetown. But I remember going on my visit and I was just like, man, I don't really like DC like that. I was like, I don't know if I can live here. So that kind of changed my mind about going to Georgetown. But
did he have Big Zoe reaching out to you?
No, they had I think Othello Harrington. I can't remember God, what was the other? It was a guard that they had there with Allen Iverson was there. I can't remember his name.
Luther Page.
It might have been. I can't remember who it was. But I remember it was like 2 people.
Jerome Williams.
No, it wasn't JYD.
JYD.
Yeah. It might have been Page though. I can't remember. But I remember Othello calling me and man, just telling me how good of a school it was and like how it was to play for Coach Thompson.
How was it when you got to LSU, when you got on campus? That was like your first time living away from the crib and everything like that. How was that transition for you?
Like I remember going on my official recruiting trip. And at the time, like LSU on probation as well because of like the Lester Earl stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, Lester ended up leaving LSU going to Kansas. So, I come like 2 years later, they still on probation. Like the team not really that good, like really low expectations, but they trying to build the program back up. And man, I never forget. I go down there for a LSU football game, and like this was one of like the best experiences like of my life. Like I had visited Michigan. Like Michigan went to a football game, got a chance to see. This is when they had Tom Brady.
Big house.
Man, who was the corner? Oh God,
Woodson.
Charles Woodson was there, and so I was excited about that because I'd never been around that many people. It was like 100 and some thousand people.
Yeah.
in the stadium. I was
Going
like, man,
crazy.
like it was crazy. So anyway, so I go to LSU and we go to this football game, and it's like 70,000 people, and it seemed like it was twice as loud as it was like in Michigan. And I was just like, man, I was blown away. Like they made me feel like it's home, but they made me feel like man, this really is home. And and man, if you know me, like I was always laid back, soft spoken, like didn't really talk a whole lot. And man, I'm sitting there and I didn't get into this game. So LSU playing Florida, like Florida ranked #1 in the country at the time. And I think LSU, like I think this Kevin Falk, Herb Tyler, man, they Booger McFarland, man, they was loaded. And I remember they ended up beating Florida in this game, and man, the crowd was going crazy. They just lost it, man. Before I knew it, man, I had to jump over the
rushing this thing.
Man, I didn't ran on the field.
You on the field? You pulling down the goalpost too?
So I wish they had I got a picture in my phone. Like somebody sent it to me. Man, I'm out there, ran on the field. I done jumped up on the goalpost, pulling the goalpost down. Man, hey, I was like,
victory!
So finally, everything calmed down, and I go back and meet up with my mom, and she was like, "Boy, what the hell got into you? Like she never seen me act like that." So
you sold it. You
man,
was it.
I was like, man, if this what it's like to be here, I was like, man, I remember that night. Like I didn't tell nobody. I was like, man, I think I'm coming to LSU. But I still wasn't 100% sure. But that night, man, it made a lasting impression on me. I was just like, man, I was blown away. And at the time, so you have your like when you go on your recruiting trip, you got the guys that take you around or whatever.
Yeah,
your host.
You got your host, and man, I ended up partying, hanging out with all the football players. I was just like, damn, I was like, the football players ended up taking me back to my hotel. I was like, man, I don't even know what all the basketball guys at. It's like, but man, I'm hanging out with the football guys.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
But, man, at the end of the night, I was like, man, I think I'm coming to LSU. But like it was that kind of visit, man. It was crazy. Like I really enjoyed myself, and they sold me on rebuilding that program. So like that's what helped me make my decision.
How was it playing in the SEC? Like, you know what I'm saying? I didn't, you playing against the Kentuckys and all that. Did you feel like once you got there, like, because you made you came right in and did your thing, was, you know what I'm saying, got to the championship and y'all won the SEC championship, which hadn't really been done there. How did you feel like your first year was?
So it was tough because all these schools that were recruiting me, they had pretty much gave up on me because I hadn't passed my ACT yet. So I had to sit out like the first part of the year. So I didn't come until like January.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, like January was like my first game. So man, they threw me to the wolves like soon as I got there. And my first game was against Auburn. And if I'm not mistaken, Auburn was ranked #1 or #2 at the time. That's the Chris Porter team.
Chris Porter?
Chris Porter.
The Afro Thunder.
Man.
He's dunked the shit out there, man.
Man, that he was a machine, man. It was like he never got tired. But man, this is my first game, and I think I'm just like juiced up off of. Man, I'm so hyped. I'm like, this is my first game, but a little nervous at the same time. And like I played pretty decent. Like I don't think I had a great game, but I played pretty decent, and I started to build my confidence up. I was like, man, I think I might be able to like do something here. Like, cause this supposed to be the #1 team in the country, and I played decent. But again, like this is my first. Like I'm playing against grown men now, so like it was kind of tough. Like that first few games or whatever. But going into that summer, like that's when I started taking the weights and everything more seriously. Like I put on some weight, gained some muscle, and came back that second year, and like it was up from there. But man, we had some. It was like I think that year we ended up playing Arizona. Like they were tough. That's Gilbert Arenas, Richard.
Michael Wright.
Yeah, Michael Wright, Lauren Woods, like they was good. Like Kentucky, we had to play Kentucky. Man, that's with Big Cat, Tayshaun. Man, what's the other guy name? Bogan. Keith Bogan was on that team.
Keith Bogues, Bogues.
Who else? Man, they was stacked. Then you know that damn Florida, man. Florida was tough too. They had like Mike Miller, UD.
We slapped them up. They were number 2 in the country too. They came to United and caught that fade.
They had Teddy Dupay, Nelson.
Teddy Dupay,
they was stacked.
I'm gonna tell you somebody I hated playing against though on that Florida team. That damn Darnell Harvey, man. He was an animal.
Harvey, D Harvey,
Man, he used to play. Harvey, he was so strong. Man, he played.
I was about to say grown ass man right there, boy.
Yeah.
At what point did you know, like, at some point during your sophomore year, you made your decision up after the year you was out of there?
I can't remember everything that was going through my mind, but I know I was undecided. But like even after like having a great sophomore year, like I remember like going into that summer, and I was just like, man, like I'm on a test and see like where I am. Like I want to go and work out for a couple of NBA teams, and just to see where I was. And I just remember telling everybody, like, man, if they say I'm top 5, like I didn't think I was top 5 at the time, but I was like, man, if they say I'm top 5, like I'm coming out. So I just remember going to I went to like 5 workouts.
You worked out for 5 teams. Okay.
5 teams. So I was like, man, if they say I'm top 5, then I'm gonna come out. But if not, then I'm gonna go back to school. So I wouldn't like before I left, like I had told my coaches and everybody, like the media, they was always asking. And I was like, nah, I'm coming back to school. Like I ain't really thinking about it. But as the summer went on, I was like, man, I think I want to try and just to see where I am. And after those workouts, I remember Vancouver at the time, they was like, man, if you here at number 2, we're gonna take you. And so I was just like, that kind of helped me make my decision. And then New Jersey, like they wanted to bring me back in for a second workout, but I ended up not going because I know they were saying like, we either gonna draft you or Kenyon Martin. And they wanted to bring me in for a second. I was like, at this point, man, it really don't matter 1 or 2. Like it really don't matter. I just want to be in the league. So
yeah. My mom was like, fuck Vancouver. My son ain't going to no Vancouver.
Man, it was tough up there. Like the city was nice, but man, you getting them double taxes, them Canadian and you getting the U.S. tax. Like they hit us hard up there.
Tell us about this draft. You know, we had the pleasure of being at that draft and, you know, being around the guys, man, seeing everybody.
Y'all being was bike to bike, right?
Minnesota, I went right behind them. Being in Minnesota. What's your experience of the draft? Because we done said it 1,000 times on the show of our experience. What's your experience of the 2000 draft?
Man, like that draft was kind of like a blur to me. Like I just remember like just being able to bring my mom and my sister and my niece, my little brother, and just like being able to have my family there, like them being able to experience that. Like my sister and my little brother, they never left the state. Well, they had left the state because they traveled to some games when I was in college, but just like them being able to be at the draft was.
Did y'all fly to the draft? Did the whole family?
We flew to the draft. Hey. Draft.
Okay.
There we go. We go.
Yeah, we flew. So yeah, that was cool, man. Just like I remember, like at the time, man, I'm still wearing the kind of watch. I had a Fossil watch. Man, I got the gold herringbone. And man, I get to. I remember that. I get to. Like you know that's the down south stuff right there. So, man, I get to the draft. I see y'all with the iced out. Q got the cube. Like I was like, man, like y'all boy iced out. I was like, man, I don't know if it was white gold.
Jamal Crawford, the one that was icy. Him and
Courtney Alexander
had the big ass earrings in his ear.
Boy, nobody was more iced out than him.
Did you have the chain then? I think you had a chain then. I can't remember.
Did we have our chains at the draft?
No, we
didn't get our chains after the draft. We got them after the draft.
Okay. But
Now
man,
I'm telling you, it was Jamal Crawford had all that.
Man.
He had all the jewelry. Him and Courtney Alexander, them boys had wristlery, everything,
Yeah.
man. I'm
Yeah.
talking about. And you know how Courtney was walking around like he was already in the league. I'm like, who the fuck is this? Like he walking around, he leaning down. His swag was all. I'm like, oh, he must be that dude then. Because I never seen him at Fresno play, but they was like, yeah, he lead scorer in college. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, we played Fresno that year, but I don't think he played. I don't know if he was hurt because I think Melvin Eli was on that team. I think
from Chicago.
we end up playing them in Hawaii, but I can't remember if Corey was on that team.
So take me to, like, you know what I'm saying, you at the table, how that, like, you know what I'm saying, I'm somewhere in that room over there feeling nervous as ever, like, you being top, you know you about to go 1 or 2, or did you know at that point you was probably gonna be 2, like
at that time, like when I didn't take that second visit back to New Jersey, then I knew like they were gonna draft Kenyon, rightfully so. Like, man, Kenyon, you know, Kenyon was a monster. I used to,
crazy senior year.
Yeah, like when I was at LSU, like I was looking in the newspaper, the USA Today. I gotta see what Kmart did. like
you know, we was in the same conference, so I had to see that the whole year.
Yeah. But man, just sitting at that table, just kind of nervous. I was like, man, what if they don't call me at number 2? Like, they say they're gonna draft me at number 2. Like, what if they don't? I was like, man, I ain't know. Like, and at that time, it really didn't matter if I was the second, third, fourth, or fifth pick. Like, I was just happy to be there, man. I'm just kind of soaking it up.
Yeah.
And man, when they called my name, I just remember like just looking at my mom, like I want to cry, but I don't want to. I know they got the cameras on me, so I don't want people to see me crying. So, but man, it was like that was probably like one of the most like memorable things, like just hearing my name, because like when I really got serious about playing basketball, like I just remember like just all the guys that came before me. It's like, man, this is like this was a dream come true.
That moment, shaking David Stern hand, this is your turn.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. After the draft, we went to Prince Club at Khalil El-Amin's draft party. Did you come in there?
Was there?
So we made a...
Because I couldn't walk around the club because I wasn't old enough to be up in there. So I could really just stroll. So
I only got a chance to briefly come to that party. Because I remember Mayo, I think Mayo was there, and I was just like, man, I want to see Mayo. Like, you know, she's real pretty. Like, saying, I was like, man, I want to go see Mayo. But I had to fly like right to Vancouver after the draft. So, but I got a chance to go to the little party.
Oh, he still forced his way. I'm gonna slide and make a little cameo though, real quick.
So I went there for a few minutes, and then we had to get on the plane and go to Vancouver like right after. So, but yeah,
let me ask you this: did they private jet you to Vancouver?
It was a private jet.
So that was the first time you was on the private, that was the first time me and Q was on the private. We was tripping.
Yeah, that was my first private jet experience. So that was cool.
This our first time. D-Miles on that joint grabbing, using the phone. Like, we at altitude right now, calling people back in the hood from the phone on the plane.
Eating all the snacks. I'm talking about. Man, it was love. Like, well, we finna get on the private. Okay, that's what it is.
How was it when you got to Vancouver? Clearly you had never been out there. Had you been out the country in college at all? Had you ever did the whole passport and the customs thing yet?
The farthest place I had been was Hawaii. Yeah, that's still considered the States. But that was a long flight from home though. But man,
that was a long flight.
Man, I remember getting to Vancouver. Man, this is one of the most beautiful cities that I like just through my playing career. Like, that's one of the most beautiful cities that I've ever been in. Like, the people were real nice and cool. Like the air was just clean and crisp. Like, man, it was a great place to be. But I think just being that far away from home, and then the taxes is like nobody really wanted to be there.
Tell me this, like, because I heard this a lot from people that play with, with Toronto too. How difficult is it, like, for you just personally, like, having family, friends travel back and forth and the whole customs? Did everybody have passports right away? Did they have to get them? You know what I'm saying? All of that type of stuff to come see you. How was that for you?
Yeah, at the time, like, man, my mom, my aunt, my sister, my little brother, like everybody got a chance to come and visit the city. But the thing back then, you didn't need a passport. All you had to do was have your birth certificate, and you can go to Canada. So like that made it kind of easy, like for everybody to have the opportunity to get over there. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to ask the same question. Like, you left the draft. How did you leave the draft and got a chance to go to another country? You didn't have your birth certificate on you or a passport, so they just let it clear for that?
Like that, I don't remember. I don't know if I don't know how that worked. Like I don't remember if I had my birth certificate. I don't know if I had my birth certificate, but I know like that night we ended up in Canada. So, but I know I ain't have a passport at that time. So
tell us about you getting on the NBA team and y'all was in a better boat than what we was in. Cause you had some stars on your squad. We was trying to become star, but Shareef Abdul-Rahim, Mike Bibby, Mike Dick, you know what I'm saying? Big Country. Y'all had some, you know what I'm saying, had some guys that, you know, you watched before coming up in the league. How was it your first year and having a guy like Shareef to learn from or anything like that?
Man, I wouldn't necessarily say I was in a better situation than y'all were in. Like y'all, I think y'all, like I don't think guys really wanted to be there. For sure. I don't think Mike would get mad at me, but I know Mike Bibby didn't want to be in Canada.
Team Dime didn't want
to. I know the people in Vancouver loved him. Like he loved Vancouver, but I don't think he really wanted to play there. And but man, like playing behind Shareef, like it was cool because I got a chance to learn a lot. Man, he like that summer before I got there, man, I think I went to Atlanta for like 2 weeks and stayed in Atlanta and worked out with him like every day for like 2 weeks. So it was good playing behind. But I think the Olympics was that year, so he was late coming back from to training camp. I think that year that was 2000 Olympics. But man, it was cool playing behind him. Like I got a chance to learn a lot. Like he's a good dude.
When we got to the league, man, we start celebrating. We started celebrating in a way that a lot of people didn't like the way we celebrated or even appreciate you celebrated. But one of the guys who celebrated too was you.
Yeah.
Tell us, what does this mean after you dunk?
Or
what made you start doing it?
Q.
And
so
can you tell us?
Not really, but so you remember after that dunk from the free throw line, the McDonald's All-American, 98.
Yeah. Turned it up right then.
Man, you ran on the court and you was like, yeah.
Turned it up right then. I say, look here.
Hey, man, that was one of the moments that I remember like the most. Is like when you came out and did it after I made that dunk. But man, it was something. It was like my clique from high school, and like that was something that we used to do. That's how we represented. That was our little clique. And
represent each other.
So once I started getting the national like recognition, because it was like clique against clique, like who had the best clique or whatever. So when I got a chance to start playing on TV, getting national recognition, they were like, man, when you get on TV, man, make sure you hit it up. Like
you dunk that thing, throw that thing,
that thing live,
throw that live on location.
So man, once I got to LSU, man, people started making like little posters with the sign, and they was like, man, the Stro Show. So I just let it go from there. Like that's what I call it, like the Stro Show. So.
Yes,
straight up the Stro Show. Yeah. Remember the chain and all that
stuff. Yeah. But man, that was just a nod back to the city, like just representing like my homeboys that I grew up with and played ball with.
Straight up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, man. I used to love when you dunk and you throw it on up, man.
Hey man, y'all used to have me want to do the knucklehead, man. But yeah, man, So let me ask y'all a question. So how was it? Like, did y'all have to go through any of the rookie hazing?
Yes.
Not really. I don't know why Q keeps saying that. Not really. No, we didn't. No, we didn't. It probably was a few times, but not really.
We had to bring little sandwiches, get that like when we was on the road, especially at training camp. We remember back then they used to have the little net bags with your gear.
Right.
We used to have to take all of those bags and hang it on the outside of the doors or whatever. And it was 3 of us, so we was all. It wasn't like we really did nothing. We ain't had to do no crazy stuff, like none of the crazy Shaq stores, no disrespectful, but like bringing little sandwiches and like that type of stuff. When we on the road, got to get the little the gear for the day and get it to the older dudes. We did that.
Yeah, I did a little bit. Like I remember starting out in man, like in Vancouver. Like they had Krispy Kreme, but I don't like, man, it was so far away from like where we live. So man, dudes want Krispy Kreme, they want you to bring a newspaper. Like, so I did that, like all the stuff that you talk about, like the dirty clothes. Yeah. Like I did a little bit of that. And man, they kind of started taking it too far. I remember. So I'm on the team. Like we got some old vets on the team. Like we got Grant Long. Like that was my guy.
Yeah, I remember Grant Long, strong guy.
And G Long, that was my guy. Like, man, he was a real good vet. Man, we had Ike Austin, like Tony Massenberg.
Big
strong guy.
It's like, man,
you ain't gonna say no to these strong. Damn. And they like 36, like kids and still walking around.
So I got some stories about them dudes, man. They was funny. But, man, I remember like getting the newspapers, the USA Today, like the laundry bags, and you know, like you go into these cold cities, you got to help put the bags under the bus and take them off the planes.
Yeah.
Like, man, I hated it. I was just like, man, I'm the only rookie on the team. Like, they making me do all this stuff. Like, but it was cool. Like it wasn't too bad. But I remember like going to Detroit, and man, we had a hard practice in Detroit. And after practice, like all the players started getting the balls off the rack. And they start throwing the balls all in the arena.
Go all over the stadium in the palace and get all the balls and bring them back.
They did that once. I remember that now.
So
they did that one time.
D-Mal want to fight.
So
yeah, I was pissed about that shit.
So they throwing the balls, kicking the ball all the way in the stand. I said, man, I got me a ball and kick that bug up there too.
And you didn't realize that you had to go and get all of it.
So he joined in. He kicked him. Hold on, let me get involved.
I never heard that before.
Man,
that is great.
Hey, I kicked me one up there too, and they was like, "Rook, like you got to go get all them balls." I said, "The hell if I do?" I said, "I go get the ball I kicked up there, but I ain't getting all these damn balls." Man, it was about 20 balls. They kicked them all around. I was like, "Man, I ain't going to get them balls." And I just remember they were like, "Man, you gonna go get them balls or else." And now, like this down south in the hood coming out, I was like, "Oh, else what?" And they was like, "We gonna get you." I was like, "Man, if y'all jump on me, like one of y'all gonna regret it. Like I'm gonna get one of y'all." I was like, "I'm gonna file for one of y'all."
Yeah. See, that's D-Miles.
Man, like,
I was pissed when they did that shit. I think we was in New Jersey or somewhere. I was pissed. Man. I'm like, I'm looking. And they like, yeah, y'all go and get the ball. No, I'm not going to get no motherfucking ball.
Man,
why we throw him up there in the first place?
Man, they had me heated. So, like, we just practiced. So they telling me, well, if you don't go get the ball, we ain't going to let you on the bus, or we ain't going to let you on the plane. So I already knew how G Long was. Like, they'll hide your clothes. Like, man, G Long was he was a prankster. So, man, after we broke the huddle, man, I went and put my sweats on, got my bag. I went straight to the bus. I ain't take no shower. I was like, they ain't finna leave me in no Detroit. but man, that's one of my crazy rookie hazing stories. But yeah, man, it was cool, man. I had a good time with them guys.
Hey, tell us about changing cities. Like like going from Vancouver and then going to Memphis, like how was that? How was the transition? Like when you tell us when you heard that, oh shit, we about to leave Vancouver and go to Memphis.
Man, that was tough. Like it was tough seeing like the fans in Canada because they really love like the Grizzlies basketball. Like they was crazy about it. But I think the team was actually losing money because like I don't think we were selling out the arena, but the fans that we did have, like they really enjoyed like the team being there. So man, just like seeing people like literally crying, like just because this team was about to leave, like it was kind of sad to see. But like for the players, I believe like we was probably more excited because like man, now we get to put a little bit more money in our pocket. We get to like we ain't got to pay these double taxes anymore.
Yeah.
So man, like once we got to Memphis, man, the city embraced us. Like man, everybody, man, it was like a different type of excitement. It was like, man, we going back home, like we going to the city. And I just remember getting there and just, man, like everybody, like everywhere we went, it was like, man, they was just happy to have us there. So it was like the transition was good, but at the time, like the Memphis Tigers, which the college team, like they was more popular than the Grizzlies when we first got there.
Yeah.
Like, man, we would go like they were selling out the gyms and man, we probably wasn't getting about but 7,000 or 8,000 in the gym, and they were packing that thing, packing the pyramid out. But
tell us about the dunk contest. You chose to get in the dunk contest.
Yes, sir.
You seen some of the greats being in the dunk contest, and Desmond Mason won in your year, right?
Man, I was so drove after that. I don't even remember who won the dunk contest. I think Desmond won it, but
yeah, Desmond won it.
Like I don't like. Man, I had some stuff with me. I had been practicing on some stuff.
Yeah, BD was in it. Q participated in it.
I think Corey,
I was an assistant. I was an assistant. I threw Corey a
I
lie
said he
about
participated in it.
Oh yeah, okay, all right.
He
I don't
participated. Corey did a front flip.
Man,
hey.
Man, that dude was so
So you had athletic,
man,
that boy.
Man,
Don't that tell you that boy did a front note on
Man, I thought I was athletic. Like this dude was like he was freakishly athletic. Like he was man, just like looked like I was like, man, he was so cut up and ripped up. I was like, man,
hey, boy, nickname was Spawn 50. Boy, remember Spawn, the movie Spawn? Yeah. That's Corey.
I was like, man, he looked like that in high school though. He was like already like grown man built.
Him and Coleon.
Yeah,
he looked like that.
I see them two. Boy, I
grade,
say, man,
bro.
Boy, grown man.
So man, I remember, like I told you, like I ain't really get a chance to play a whole lot my rookie year. But everybody on my team, like they knew, like they were seeing the stuff that I was doing in practice, and they were like, "Man, you got to get in the dunk contest." But I don't think I was getting enough like playing time where people could see like what I could actually do.
Yeah.
And so I think they sent a letter out to Stu Jackson. I can't remember if Stu was like over who gets into the dunk contest and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And they was like, we don't know, like we don't know if he can actually be in the dunk contest. So that kind of put a chip on my shoulder. I was like, man, like they trying to like fake on me like that. Like I can't, like I ain't got no stuff with me. So I was just like, man, every time I got in the game, everything I was doing, like man, I was trying to windmill. So I don't know if y'all like watched the little highlight tapes, the little reels that they've been going viral. But it was one dunk against Denver. It was a drop step windmill.
Drop step windmill.
One
like,
step, bro.
In
In
the lane
with people right there around. Like, why did he even try that?
Like, that was
like, why he do that?
Like, that was the angry dunk because they told me like I ain't have enough to get in the dunk contest. So I was trying to show them like every time I got an opportunity, like okay, I'm gonna let y'all see like what I can do. So like
that was crazy.
That was just supposed to be
one step in traffic.
Drop step windmill on the side of the goal.
Yeah. So I think after that,
I remember that.
I think after that night, they was like, okay, we'll let them get in. And man, I just remember I had all my dunks like mapped out. So like this one I'm gonna do first round, second round, like championship with it, like the final round. Like I ain't really have like other dunks that I like like a counter, like if I miss this dunk, like I'm gonna do this. Like all the dunks that I had, like I knew I could do them pretty easy.
Yeah.
But my dunk to get to I didn't even get to show like my final dunk that I wanted to do. So my dunk that I got that I had to do, I think it was the second round of it. Damon Jones was supposed to sit down in a chair and throw the ball up, and I was gonna jump over him and windmill. So they come, like we setting it up, and they come to me. They was like, "You can't use no props," and that just messed my whole train of thought
That threw
up.
you all the way out.
I had all my dunks, I had everything lined up. So now I got to try to find a replacement dunk for this, and it was just like, man, I don't know what else to do because I had all my dunks lined up. So I ain't even get to show like my final dunk, but man,
what was that dunk?
Man, I can't even remember what it was, but it was something crazy. It was I'm trying to think. I had seen somebody do it. Like somebody, I think Sharif had just came up with something crazy. Like, man, see if you can do this. And like I practiced it a few times, and I started doing it pretty easy. But it was some between the leg type of stuff. I can't remember what it was. Man, it was crazy. I can't even remember what it was, but I used to, like, after he asked me if I could do it, like, I just started working on it and I started doing it. And I didn't even get a chance to do it, but I think, like, it would have won the dunk contest. If, like, people would have went crazy because, like, I had never, like, before he just brought it to me, I had never, like did anything like that. And, man, it just messed me up, messed up my train of thought, and I couldn't, like, I ain't had nothing else, a replacement for that dunk, so.
You played more, but then you get traded to Houston, which Houston is closer to home. You got one of our vets on that team, you know, Juwan, New, Big Dikembe, and you playing with T-Mac, guy you played with in camp. How was that experience for you?
So, man, I'm going to take you back to Memphis. Man, we was terrible. Man, winning 16, 17, 18 games, man.
Out of 82, I done felt that before.
Like that was like I had never been on a team like just from the time I started playing. I never lost that much. So man, like if you ain't careful, that kind of starts to become like you start getting used to losing, and I hated that. But man, I tell you, like that whole team turned around, like the whole organization turned around. Like they went and got Jerry West, and Jerry West ended up coming, and then he brought in Hubie Brown. Man, when Hubie got there, man, we bumped heads a lot, and I was like, man, like who is this? Because at the time, I'm not a student of the game. Like I ain't really know who Hubie Brown was. I just knew Hubie Brown.
Right.
I just knew him to be the announcer, like for the games. Like I didn't know he was like this great coach. But so he come in there, and man, he was so detailed with everything that he did, and I was just like, man, like I didn't understand why he was doing certain stuff that he would tell me, like how much of a difference it made. And man, he made me to a better player. Like just being around like the knowledge that he had of the game and like just X's and O's and just like him being like the person that he is, man, he was great. Yeah. And I think that helped me kind of like pick my game up a little bit and just the whole organization from the top to bottom, like just like changed. And I remember Hubie telling us like, man, if y'all buy into the system, like teams are not going to want to play against you at the end of the year, because this, like at the end of the year, like the top teams are trying to get those top playoff spots, and they was like, man, like if y'all buy into the system, like we gonna be held on a lot of these teams, and man, everybody bought in, and man, it was up from there. And then that next year, like I think I probably had one of my best seasons playing under Hubie, but like man, Hubie was the type of guy. Like he wasn't really like a politic guy. You know, there's a lot of politics going on in the league.
Yeah.
And I remember, I think Bonzi, like we had made a trade. Like Bonzi had came over from Portland.
Yeah.
And then I think we ended up trading Drew Gooden to get Mike Miller.
Yeah.
So I remember Bonzi and Mike, they were playing basically kind of like the same position. And man, B Wells was like you. He was kind of like you. He was a monster,
Yeah.
man. He
Yes, sir.
like he could play
Bucket
defense.
getter.
Like he could get buckets. He could play in the post. And,
Tough.
and he would be like that. He had this toughness about him. He'd be like that. So I just remember it was a dilemma of like who they was gonna play, who was gonna start, like Mike or Bonzi. And at the time, Bonzi was playing a little bit better than Mike, but I think Mike had just got his money, like they had just paid Mike or something. And
Yeah.
but Hubie didn't care about that. Like he was gonna play like the best person at that position. Like eventually Mike like got that spot, but at the time, like man, Hubie wasn't like nobody upstairs was gonna make him play somebody that he didn't want to play. So like I know he ain't really buying into that politics stuff. So like the system that we had, it was like you knew when you was gonna get in the game. Like it wasn't like I never came to the game and was like, man, I don't know if I'm gonna play tonight. Like you always knew, like the starters, like they gonna play the first 6 minutes. Like he don't even have to tell you
at this time.
and he don't even have to tell you to go to the table. You know when that 6 minute mark come up, like it's time for you to go in the game. So he don't. So like that made it a lot easier for the guys. And man, we had a pretty nice squad that year. Like our second unit, man, we was pretty tough. Like man, we used to go at it with the first unit in practice. But I remember like man, just playing under Hubie, man, like built up a lot of confidence for us. But after he left, like I struggled playing under not so much Mike Fratello, but Mark Ivoroni. Like me and him bumped heads. Like I ain't really get along. Like I don't think nobody really got along with him. But I ended up going to Houston. And got it. Like just to answer your question, got a chance to play with Mac, Yao, Jawan, Dikembe. Man, like so growing up, Houston was my favorite team. Like I was a Jordan fan. Like I know everybody loved Jordan, but Elijah was my guy. Like I wanted to be like Elijah and like just to be able to go play for the team that like I grew up. Like that was my favorite team. Man, that was a dream come true in itself. And man, being able to play with them Hall of Famers with Mac and Yao, man, it was great. But
being close to home too.
Yeah, it was man,
close to home.
Like a 30, 40-minute flight. I can just jump on the plane and get home like my family. Like it was cool. But
yeah, that's all love right there.
Man, it seemed like everybody got hurt that year. Like Mac was going through the back pain. Like y'all got hurt. Man, I just remember we started getting people from the D League. Like they was bringing people up from the D League because everybody was getting hurt. And so I was crazy. So I was only able to play there for that 1 year, and then they traded me back to Memphis the next year.
How was that leaving Memphis, going to Houston for a year, being closer to home, your childhood team, and then you go right back to the team?
Man, like
you got traded.
Man, I tell y'all, man, like I don't know if y'all ever been around the Kimbe. Like if y'all just spend a lot of time around. But man, this dude was absolutely one of the funniest dudes that I ever been around.
Funniest dudes, yes.
It's like
hey.
That's my guy.
So I never seen this dude have a bad day. Like sometimes like you come to the gym like it just ain't I ain't got it today. Like I don't really feel like being here. Like I never seen Deke like that. Like, he was always happy. Like always trying to cheer somebody up.
Always smiling. Every time I seen him, he smiled. Only time I didn't see him smile was on the court. But off the court, all I seen him was smiling.
Man, I remember Deke would get fined if he didn't wear his elbow pads in practice. So like in practice, he always had to wear his elbow pads because he was gonna hit somebody with them elbows.
Throwing them junk. Throwing them junk.
So I remember one time, man, we was on the plane. I don't remember where we were going. Like, so I'm kind of new on the team. Like, I don't really know, like, everybody. But I just remember getting on the plane, and Deke got his headphones on. And, man, he rapping Biggie Smalls, like, lyric for lyric. And I'm looking at him, he was like, I love it when you call me Big Pop. I was like, look, man, Deke, he rapping Biggie, like, word for word. Like, I was like, man, like, this dude, man, he's funny, man. He just... Man, cool dude, man. I enjoy being on that team.
This ain't on the subject, but you remember at Nike camp, what's the big boy that used to have? He had the headphones on the whole Nike camp.
Dallenberg.
Samuel
You remember?
Dallenberg. Yeah.
You remember Dallenberg going around rapping Biggie and Pac the whole camp?
Man, I remember that. Like, man, he was like so energetic. Like, man, he was a happy guy too, man. I never seen him not happy, man. Like I remember
that was
I don't remember what he was listening to, but I remember he had his headphones on all the time.
The whole time.
Shake his head.
Yeah.
And you talk to him, he be like, I'm speaking English.
Yeah.
But you'll hear him rapping down the hallway with his headphones on. That would remind me of that. I didn't mean to change.
Nah, you good.
So when you got back to Memphis, you got Mike Miller, you got Damon Stoudemire, they draft Rudy Gay, Kyle Lowry. Just tell us about that team. Them young guys, man. I know I got there, I think I got there the year after you left. I got to Memphis.
Yeah.
And just to see Rudy Gay and how athletic and how he had every tool in the toolbox to his game. Just tell us about them young guys and all that. And I played with Damon.
Man,
just tell us about that team.
Man, it was cool. Like they Eddie Jones was on that team. Chucky Atkins. Chucky was my guy. Like Rudy.
Chucky lived here in Orlando.
Yeah, like Rudy and Kyle. Man, them was my young guys right there. Like, man, I enjoyed them guys. Like, just playing with them, like, it was fun. But man, Rudy was super athletic, man. Like, just, man, he could do everything. He could shoot it, like, man, like handles. Like he was nice. So it was fun, like, just like watching them like come in and play. Like, man, we had this, like, I used to call him like little float ball, because when he shoot the ball, like, he had this rainbow shot. And that thing used to drop all net. But man, I used to crack jokes on him all the time, tell him his shot looked like a little float biscuit. But like that was my boys, man. I enjoyed that team. Like Biggie, like Damon, man, he was fun to play with. Like Chucky, man, man, you know Chucky. You go out with Chucky, boy, he gonna have a ball.
Yes, sir.
So it was fun hanging out with Chucky. Man, Mike, the people's champ. Like, everybody loved Mike Miller. Like, he's a good dude. Who else was on that team? Pau Gasol. Like, Pau was on that team. Like, Pau, me and Pau was like this. Like, that was my man. I remember, like, when he first got there, he didn't really speak a lot of English either. So, like him, his locker was next to mine, so he kind of, like, I'm speaking a little slang, so his English was kind of broken. So, man, he's speaking Spanglish, and he got a little slang in there. But man, like, we sat together on the planes, on the plane rides. Man, he would like, I had him looking at Sanford and Son. You know, he had the little DVD player.
Yeah.
So they used to call us Lamar and Julio. That was my nickname for Pau. Like every time I saw him, I called him Julio from Sanford and Son. But man, that was my guy right there.
Yeah.
Tell us how good Pau was. Left hand, right hand jump hook. He was tall. He was athletic. He can move as a big man. He dunked on KG that year.
So I remember
he got payback for you.
Yeah, man. I don't know if y'all ever watched that highlight, man. You probably gonna see me, man. I think I then there jumped on his back. I was so happy that he took
Let's jump him.
Yeah, man. Ticket was a bully, man. He used to. Man, but if you didn't know, like, so I don't know if we got cut off. I was telling y'all the story about, like, man, I asked Trent Hassel. I was like, man, what's up with Ticket, man? I was like, man, why he act like that? Why, like, man, I wanted to sign my jersey. Like, Ticket wants, like, we had the same agent too, and I was like, man, Ticket won't sign my jersey. I was like, man, what's up with dude? And he was like, man, like, Trent was like, man, he just like that, man. Like, he a good dude, but if you ain't on his team, Like he don't fool. If you ain't on his team, he ain't fooling with you like that. So, and I was like, well, why he be talking noise like that all the time? And he was just like, man. So I didn't learn until like my 8th year in the league that like that's how he get himself going. Like that's like in his psyche. Like man, like he would walk by you and just like bitch ass can't guard me. Like he just be talking crazy. Like, and so so going back to the Memphis days, like Pau wasn't used to people talking noise like that. So man, Ticket talking crazy. So now I'm just like, man, like you just got to go in it. And I never forget, man, he ripped that thing baseline and dunked on Ticket, man. I went crazy.
Swung on the rim.
Swung on the rim. I went crazy.
I'm gonna have to look at the highlight and look at nothing but you.
But man, I remember when they drafted Pau. So like we would come in the summer. And when he finally came from Spain, he came in we before training camp started, like we played pickup and stuff. And man, every day, because like he coming in like man, this supposed to be my spot. Like I'm supposed to be the starting power forward, like starting off the year, but they bring him in, and so I'm just trying to test him and see where he at. And man, like, when I say skilled, man, 7 foot, can put it on the floor. Right hand jump hook, left hand jump hook, like mid range jump. And I was just like, damn, like I might be, I might be in trouble. So like this wasn't no like this when I kind of really start understanding like the politics and understanding the game. Like this dude was so big. Like I think we went to Spain like one of those years, and we
preseason.
Preseason we had some games over there. Man, when I tell you this dude was huge, like I remember like walking through Spain, we was going, like the team was going to eat. So over there, like I don't know what they call them, but you got to walk over these little bridges of water. Like it's like, I forget what it was, but they had like all these restaurants on the strip. And I remember us walking to this one restaurant, like people sitting down at the tables, and you can see us walking by. Man, these people was, man, it kind of reminded me of the scene from Ali when he was running, when he was jogging,
running through the village.
Yeah, and all the people started coming out and following behind him. Like it was like that. Yeah. Like people just wanted to touch him. Like he was that big over there. Like they like Pau Gasol. Like they just wanted to touch him. Like just like take a picture and just be around him. Like before we knew it, man, it was about 200-300 people following behind us. And like we get to this restaurant and everybody just at the window because the security wouldn't let the people in the restaurant. It's like people lined up, like they just want to see him. Like it was like when I saw that, I was like, damn, like I don't get that kind of
another level.
Yeah, we don't get that kind of love. We go back home. Like this was something different. Man, just to see him like coming to his own and like him playing in Memphis. You know, we in a small market, so we don't get a chance to play on TV that often. But I'm telling people like, man, this dude just as good as Tim Duncan,
in the league.
the top who was the top power forward. Like he wasn't gonna make it to the All-Star because he got to play. He behind.
It was loaded in the West.
Yeah, Duncan. You got KG. You got Rasheed. C. Webb. So it was like, man, like I don't care how good he played. Like as long as it's Dirt. Like as long as he was in Memphis, he wasn't gonna get an opportunity. But like him going to LA was like the best thing that happened to his career. Like him being in that spotlight, being around Kobe, like that just elevated his game. But he, like to me, like a lot of people want to give Kobe that credit, but I saw him early, so I was like, man, he already had that. He already been killing dudes. Like before that, he just needed to get on a bigger spotlight. And better team. Once he got to LA. Man, everybody saw what I had been seeing over the last few years. And, man, I was just happy to see his career take off like that.
Yeah, I know what I want. This what I want to ask, bro. You know, Shreveport, Louisiana, man. Humble beginnings. Ain't never left the state. Mm-hmm. I gotta know when you got that bag.
When you got
And
that
I ain't-
22?
man,
Talking
that
about when you got
baggage
that
claim.
22?
And I ain't talking about I ain't talking about, we know you took care of Mom Dukes and the fam, got a house, I'm talking about what did Stro Show do? You said you saw that jewelry at the draft. Did you get you some jewels? Did you get you some wheels? What did you do that you look back on man, I spent a lot of money. That was kind of stupid. But like at that time, it was the best thing I did to this point.
Felt good.
Man, so the first thing I bought a Cadillac Escalade.
Gotta have one of them.
Esky Lolo boys.
Gotta have
That's a 2000 draft pick starter kit right there.
You already know.
I put some candy paint on that thing. That's how we do it in the South. Like that's how we used to do. Like they still doing them on the old school. But I got that 2000 Escalade and put some candy paint on there. Put some 20-inch rims on there.
20s on there.
Man, I had the PlayStation, the TVs, all in that thing.
In the
already ready to go in the headrest and stuff.
So, man, I think I was still a little green though because I ain't want to. I was like, man, I ain't buying no ice. I was like, man, I'm gonna just stick with my herringbone. And I just remember, man, like getting to Vancouver, man, Mike Bibby and them talking about me, they cracking jokes on my herringbone. They was like, man, I think G Long put me to the side, like young fella, like, man, you got to like you making too much money, man. You got to get rid of that herringbone.
So it's the ice age.
So I
don't know, man. Country boy, you gotta have that herringbone and
so I got me. That's when I got the Stro Show piece. I finally broke down and got the white gold Stro Show piece and got me a little rolly.
You went to Dave. Dave made that Stro Show.
Man, I don't even want to shout this dude out because he kind of messed over me. But I give him some props. Iceman.
Iceman. Oh, yeah. Iceman made the Stro Show.
Yeah,
okay.
He made the first one. Man, quick little story. I go back to Vancouver one year. Man, Vancouver was like, it was so nice. Like I had to go back every summer. So like every summer I would go back. But I ended up going back. I can't remember. This was like maybe 2 years after we had left. And I'm down there with a couple of my boys. And like we had this singer. Like we was trying to like help him out, trying to get him a deal or whatever. So we had took him to Vancouver. Like we taking him around the clubs, letting him sing and do his thing or whatever. And we was getting ready to drop him off at the hotel. And we in this van, like we in this like 12 passenger van, 15 passenger van, whatever it was. We pull up right in front of the hotel. And next thing I know, somebody on the side of the window, like with a little revolver pointed at my head. And I look, man, a little bitty short East Indian dude, man, like telling me to give it up. So man, I was like, man, you can have all this. I took my Stro Show piece off, my watch, man, just gave it to him. And I was like, dang, man, out of all the places I could have got robbed, like I ain't never got robbed at home, LA, like all of Memphis, like I hadn't been to Memphis, all the places that I had been, like I had never got robbed. And I go back to Vancouver where like the crime rate was real low at the time. Like nobody was getting robbed in Canada. Like, man, all they wanted to do is smoke their weed and just hang out. And
definitely did.
I was like, man,
good BC.
I said, man, they robbed me in Canada, robbed me in Vancouver, took my Stro Show piece.
Damn.
Yeah.
You got to start one, you got to bench one, you got to trade one.
Uh-oh.
Here you go.
Golly.
What you got for him?
I got Weber.
The Power Forward edition.
Duncan, KG.
Golly.
We know what the people in your hood think. What you think?
He was on that Western Conference, so he had to see all that work.
Man, they ain't gonna like me. They ain't gonna like me for this. I'm starting ticket. Dang, I got a bench C-Web.
You getting rid of you trading Duncan.
So I'm gonna tell you why. Man, I got a homeboy. Like he a huge Tim Duncan fan.
Yeah.
Like Duncan never really gave me a whole lot of problems. Like it wasn't like Duncan just gonna come out and just kill you. Like he ain't talk no noise. Like he coming out, he getting his 2012 and like whatever his number was, and it was so easy and effortless for Duncan.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't a 25 like, man, he bust my, like, you look up, like, man, it don't look like he done did that much, but he got 25 and 15, and
Right.
like it was like, man, when he do that? But KG, man, you knew he done put 25 on your head. Like he like every time he scored, he talking noise to you. So it was, I think that was a little bit harder for me at that time. Like and then C Webb was just so cold. Like
that Sacramento Kings, C Webb, free throw line jumper, jump hook in the post.
Man, C Webb was so cold. Like just like the passes, like the vision that he had, like the big hands,
them
like,
backdoor passes.
Man, like
after they
like, and then I was just a big Chris Webber fan, like just from high school, like college.
Fab Five.
So but like overall, you know, like Duncan, he the best power forward ever. But that's just from me, like from my perspective. I'm starting KG, like I'm a bench C Webb, and we got cut Timmy. But no disrespect to Timmy. Like he the greatest power forward ever. So like that's just me from playing against.
I got one more addition for you. Jermaine O'Neal, Rasheed Wallace, Dirk. Who do you start? Who do you bench? Who do you trade?
Golly, boy, that's a tough one right there. Man, I hate these questions like that. Man, Dirk was so, God, man, I think I may have blocked Dirk's shot maybe one time, like my whole career. Like that was like the hardest person shot to block.
Yeah, it's hard.
Like out of all of those, I'm gonna say Rasheed was my favorite. But like if I'm starting somebody, I'm starting Dirk.
Mm-hmm.
I got a bench Sheed, and I got to cut J.O. And J.O. was a dog. Like he was, man, he was cold too.
Yes, he was.
Like he was tough. But Dirk, man, like just playing against a 7-footer that couldn't, like he wasn't fast, like he couldn't jump.
He wasn't gonna dribble too much.
Man, 1-2 dribbles and he get to his spot.
Pull.
Like he can get to he can dribble good enough to get to the basket. And man, you wasn't stopping that fade. That one leg fade away, you wasn't stopping it. Like
stanky leg.
Yeah.
Stanky leg.
But yeah, like so I say start Dirk, bench Sheed, and cut J.O.
You done played for a lot of teams.
Mm.
You had a lot of teammates over the years you done played. With you, if you had to make an ultimate five, all your teammates in their prime, if you had to make an ultimate five with you, who would be the other 4 players that you'll make that ultimate five with?
Okay, my point guard gonna be Earl Watson.
Over Bibby, Jason Williams, and Dame Stoudemire?
So Earl,
if it was a teammate, you played with Steve Nash too, didn't you?
Yeah, but that was only like for a few months though. That was at the end.
So,
that's all fair game.
So, it's all fair game.
Man,
any of your teammates in their prime to make your ultimate, because we putting this in a category with everybody else who's making their ultimate five.
I'm gonna tell you. I'll tell you why I picked Earl. Because at this time, like I love J. Will, man. J. Will, like man, I was able to be on some.
And he had white chocolate. I forgot that.
Some incredible like highlights. Man, you know, J. Will put me on ESPN a lot of times. But J. Will was a shoot at this time. He was a shoot first guard. Like he made them crazy, incredible passes, but he still was a shoot first guard. So I like the pass first guard. Like Earl always looked out for me. Like Earl was man. He was always looking for me on the wing, looking for the lob. Like so, and then he was more of a coach on the court. Like man, basketball IQ. Like Earl Watson, like one of the best ever.
Definitely.
So I always play. So I for me, like I got to put EJ up there.
Okay.
2 guard, I got to go with Matt.
Okay. T-Mac at 2.
Yeah. Small forward, I got to go with VC. Like Vince
Carter.
Like I'm going with Vince. man, I want to take myself out there and put Pau in there. But if I can't,
Nah,
if I can't
you
take
can.
myself out, then I go power forward. I go with myself, and then center. Like I got to go with Diesel.
The big
So
Diesel.
Earl Watson, Vince Carter, Tracy McGrady, you and Diesel.
Yeah.
You sure you don't want to put Steve Nash at the point? It looked better.
I know it looked better, but like this is just me going off of like from my experiences. Like I ain't get the
That's his ultimate five.
Yeah, I
You
ain't
trying to
get
make him change his ultimate five.
See,
We just ultimate five, your best five.
So I ain't get the Steve. Like I ain't get a chance to play with the Steve Nash that was like the MVP Steve Nash that was with the Matrix and Stoudemire. Like I got a roll.
You stick with Earl Watson, man. Shout out to Earl Watson, man.
I got to roll with my boy.
Shout out Earl, man. No disrespect. I ain't trying to kick you off, man. Shout out to Earl.
Standing on business, man.
How was it playing in China?
Man, God, boy, it was. Man, when I tell you the Chinese fans know basketball probably more than some of the players, like I was amazed when I got there. Like it was hard. It was hard being over there, being that far away from home. Like the language barrier, the food. Like it was hard being over there. But man, I once I got there, I saw a familiar face. Rest in peace to my boy Andre Emmett. But I don't know if y'all remember. I don't know if y'all remember Drake.
R.I.P.
Man, Drake.
Yeah,
Drake? Definitely.
Yeah, Drake straight hooper.
Texas Tech.
Yeah,
I played against him in the Big Three too. So Drake.
Yeah, Dallas, Texas, Oak Cliff. But he wore that Oak Cliff on his shoulder. So I get there and Andre is on the team, and I think Memphis drafted him. I think my third year in the league, I believe they drafted him. So. Man, just going over there, like being able to play on the team with him, it was cool. Just like the rules and everything that went on over there was a little different than the league. So it was like they was trying to be like the league, but it was some stuff going on over there. Like it wasn't. Man, the CBA, man, it was crazy. It was some crazy stuff going on over there. Like, man, you getting them late night knocks at the door from the other team trying to pay you off to not have not have a good game.
So
it was like that. That's crazy.
Like it was crazy, man. I had a couple times where somebody knocked on the door and they come over there try to offer you some cash to not play the next game or not get your average. I was like, man, you go to jail for that type of stuff in the States, boy. I was like, nah, I ain't messing with that. But
straight up,
that's
like
wild.
Like the team that I played on, they always try to make it right. So if you win the game, you would get a bonus anyway. So like it wasn't worth taking no bribe, but
just to lose.
Yeah, but just being over there, like, man, the food. I think when I went over there, I was weighing like 240. And, all the stories and stuff that you hear about them eating dogs and cats and all that stuff, like man, I wasn't sure about all that. So, man, I just ate vegetables and rice and noodles and eggs and fruit every day. And, man, I lost so much weight over there. Man, I came back home, I was like 220. Like, I hadn't weighed that much since I was in college. But, like, just like that and being away from home but basketball is basketball. Like it was like the competition wasn't like the league. So I went over there. I think I averaged about 25 and 12 or something like that.
Yeah.
But the competition wasn't like they were getting there. Like they had some pros like Stephon Marbury was over there. Maurice Taylor. Like I think this one Steph, like man, like in Marbury like a god over there now. Like they love him over there. But like the competition, it was decent, man. It was it was hard playing over there for like I think I was there for like 7 months. Man, freezing cold every day, like 8 degrees. Man, growing up, like you read in the history books and you reading the stuff about China. Like it was awesome to see like all of like the temples and the Great Wall and all that stuff. But so it's like. If you go to China, like the cities that you would think about going to is like Beijing and Shanghai. like those
Yeah.
type of places. But when I got there, it was like they sent me to a city like Shreveport, like way away.
In China,
Yeah, like
right?
I'm in a city like it's like 7 million people in this one city, but it's so small and compact, and it's like 2 hours away from the closest McDonald's, and I'm just like, man, like
Oh
it was almost
man,
like it was in the middle of nowhere. So you can't just drive and go to like you got to take a 2 hour road trip to go to McDonald's.
What was your go-to meal? What was that one meal you was like, yeah, I can eat this shit almost every other
Man,
day?
I had to go back to the hood. That rice and eggs, man.
The rice
Man,
with the egg in it?
that scrambled eggs, man. I ate that almost every day, and noodles, vegetables, and fruit almost every day.
that's
Like,
different.
yeah, it was tough over there. Like just being away, but man, just having somebody over there from the States that you know you could communicate with, and
Yeah.
'cause if not, man, it's like all you gonna do is just watch TV. If you got the DVD player, like you gonna watch DVDs and all that stuff. But yeah,
Yeah.
other than that, like I don't think I want to go back, not for 7 months anyway.
Right.
You had 7 months over there?
Yeah,
Long time.
man, I
Yeah, they
remember.
definitely had to.
So the way they had it structured, like if you was a foreigner, like you couldn't play. Like so, I would start the first quarter, and then I sit
Oh
out.
yeah, the
Yeah, the
rotation joint.
rotation was crazy. So like Andre would play like the second quarter, and then I would come back and I would start like I would play like the first half of the third quarter, and then he'll come back and play the end of the third quarter, and then like you can only play the Americans at the same time as in the fourth quarter. And man, I remember one game like I already knew this dude. I knew he can play, but I had never seen him. Like I had never. The only person I ever seen do something like this was Kobe. I was like, man, like this dude went out there. Like he didn't play the first quarter, and he didn't play the second quarter. Like he went out there and he only played half of the third quarter, and he scored 71 points in the game.
Damn.
And I don't care what league you in, high school, college, man. If you can get 71, and he did it,
71 and 71.
and he did it in a quarter,
In a
What
and
quarter
level
and a
though?
half.
he did that in a quarter and a half, and then I had like 20 some points. Man, I still still to this day I was like, dude, I ain't never seen nobody like able to score the ball like that. Like he was unbelievable. 71 points. And he had like 10
It was
assists.
definitely a
So I'm
bucket.
like, damn, I was like, how the hell he do like 71 points and 10 assists? Like you still was able to get me to rock and let me get off. But man, like y'all go look it up. He scored 71 points in one game in a quarter and a half. Like I had never seen nothing like that in my life.
Tell me this: you didn't caught a lot of bodies now, whole lot of like.
Yes, sir.
What's your favorite bang out on somebody that stands out in your mind? If anybody asks you, or when you think about some of your best dunks, what's the best dunk that
Can I,
stand
can,
out
can
in
I
your
say
mind?
mine from you first
Yeah, go ahead.
before you say it? That one on Tyrus Thomas.
Car accident in there.
That was one right there. So which
Yeah.
one you would say?
That's one of my favorites, but I hate it had to be on him because that's my boy.
Yeah. Yeah, I love
Uh,
Tyrus, man. That's my guy too.
um, I still don't know why he jumped with that because if I was on the other end of that because I know him, like I wouldn't have jumped, like I wouldn't have done that.
Cause he'll dunk that thing too.
Yeah, because he caught some bodies too.
Yeah.
Facts.
But man, like that's tough. Like because I in those practices, like a lot of times people don't get to see the practice, like the stuff that happened in practice. So man, I had some crazy dunks in practice, and because we were like, I told some of my homeboys I'm gonna have to put out my own highlight tape because I got some games that didn't air on TV, that didn't come on TV. So I had some stuff on there that I think people probably would enjoy. But I would have to say my favorite one was probably on Yao because of being able to dunk over a 7-footer like that. That really you ain't really see that often. So I would say that Yao one was probably my favorite one.
Yeah, Q, I got a couple 7-footers in my day too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So have I.
You wouldn't know nothing about that.
Maybe not as many as the two of y'all, but I had.
Q,
I've done it too.
who'd
It's
you
happened.
catch, Q?
Man, I dunked on Zoe before.
Oh man, that's saying something because he was
That's a good one.
You feel me?
good
I'ma
one.
just throw that. I'ma just leave that
That's a
right
good
there.
one.
Hey,
That's a
Tip
good
dunk.
one.
You feel me?
Oh no,
Two
tip
hands
dunk.
for
We ain't talking about
safety.
tip dunks. We talking about
hey,
booms.
like that's
It was a boom. Two-hand boom.
Tip dunk is kind of cheating. You catching out the rim, so they don't really see you coming. I'm talking about I'm coming, I'm dunking on you.
face to face.
Who you
Dirt.
dunk on?
Dirt.
Okay, man.
Okay.
I could never dunk on Zoe. Like Zoe timing was probably one of the best that I've seen. Like I could never catch
He
him.
gets you right when you finna throw it in the rim. He it's like he right there.
You ever got Zoe Black?
Nah.
Man,
So wait a
Zoe
minute.
block-
The two
Zoe
dunkers
block
on
my-
I'm on here right now with two expert dunkers, and neither one of y'all ever dunked on Alonzo Mourning. But
you bragging
did.
about a tip
hey,
dunk?
I had
Tip dunk, you can dunk anybody.
I had
But
about
wait a minute. Did you ever dunk on Alonzo Mourning via
I
tip
tip
dunk or
dunk
any
Shaq.
type of dunk?
no.
I just asked the question. Alonzo Mourning we was talking about.
I tried Zoe about 3 or 4 times, and he met me at the rim every single time. Like that was one person I didn't get.
I'll take that. You know,
Yeah.
6'5", you know, only
Man,
guy
that
on here
don't
that's not
count.
a big
A
dunker.
tip dunk.
Dunked on a guy y'all couldn't dunk
Tip
on.
dunk don't
y'all
count.
tried.
Telling Imano, you see me coming and I'm coming to dunk on you. Not
And
no
when
tip
people
dunk.
look at the photo,
when somebody
when people
boxing
look at the
out.
photo, they not gonna ask how it happened. They don't know how it happened. All they see is the photo, and I got the photo of me like this
Sneaking.
on Zoe.
You got a photo of you. You got a photo of you sneaking up on
We got
Zoe
the
and
same
dunking
agent.
him.
We got the same agent, Stro. So I sent it to my agent when it happened. I'm talking noise. You feel
You
me?
snuck up on Zoe.
I never say that to Zoe, though. You know, I ain't gonna say that to Zoe, but I was talking noise to my agent, Jeff.
Back turn or was he facing you when you caught him?
He was boxing out. That's what he was doing.
Nope. It
He
was
boxing
kinda
out,
like,
man. He ain't see
well,
him
if
coming.
you actually see the video,
It's a tip
he
dunk,
was,
Stro.
and then it
Stro,
was like,
you know
it's
the real
both.
Stro. He trying to get through the man. You didn't dunk on Zoe. You
Hey, man,
tip
I ain't
dunk.
gonna go back
You
and
tip
forth
dunk
with
him and
people that ain't
ran.
do what I did. I ain't gonna go back and forth with people that ain't do what I did.
You tip dunked him and ran.
Tuh. Picture that.
Man, D, what was your favorite dunk that you caught?
My favorite. Oh,
The best dunk he ever had ain't even on film.
what dunk is that?
Jermaine O'Neal,
Yeah, that's probably was my favorite.
preseason rookie year, we was at like Oakland College or something playing.
we was at Indiana State.
Indiana State. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yep. That was preseason. Got tangled up with him.
It was crazy.
Dunk. And I hollered. You know my voice was squeaky.
Sound like a damn hit deer in the woods, bro.
I drop stepped that Shine Bradley though.
That was cold. That was one for the. You done on him a couple times, but like the coldest one was that Jermaine O'Neal because it was like bodies colliding in the middle of the air, and it was like he little acting like he swole the way he came down.
Yeah, I was stick figure then, but
Like it wasn't on nobody. But my favorite one was that lob from LO.
yeah.
Oh yeah,
That was crazy, man. Man, y'all team looked like y'all had a lot of fun on that team.
We did, but we were so competitive with each other. It's crazy. We was like some badass kids.
Was Elton Brand on that team?
Not our first year,
yeah. Not the first year, but second year.
second year.
Well, man, bro, we appreciate you pulling up, man. It's been a dope stroll down memory lane, and yeah, Black. You know, we got the 1998 class in the building, and throw the set up. You know what I'm saying? Throw the Stro Show up, baby. We got Stromile Swift, y'all. Tap in, man. Shreveport's finest. Knuckle up.
Man, I appreciate y'all for having me, man. I've been waiting on this one, man.